Alright guys, welcome back to another horror room movie review, and today is Wrong Turn 2. Finally got this video done. I know this one's really late. I had some problems watching the movie, but I finally got to finish it tonight. I should have Wrong Turn 3 up very soon. It'll probably be my next video actually. But yeah, this movie I really liked. I've seen this one before, and I've only seen the first two, so I definitely am looking forward to the rest of the series to see where they go with it. But I think 2 is pretty good for a direct-to-DVD movie. It's got some good gore, it's got a lot of action, and I thought Henry Rollins did a great job as the crazy Marine guy. So this one's definitely one to check out. It's just a fun movie. But it came out in 2007, only had $4 million but made $9 million. But we're back with the direct-to-DVD releases now, so I mean, you can't really expect a lot. But that being said, I thought they did a good job with what they had. And there's actually a guy in this movie named Texas Battle. That is his name. It's Jake. His name is Texas Battle. But the movie starts off with Kimbo from American Idol. Kimberly something, I don't know her name. I don't watch American Idol, but she's from that show. And she's driving through West Virginia. She's talking on the phone to her agent. She's on the back roads. She's supposed to be going to this reality show out in the woods somewhere. She's pissed off at him. She loses signal on her phone, and while she's messing with it, trying to fix it, she runs over one of the cannibals. So she stops the car and she gets out to go check on him, and of course he's not dead because these things are freaking indestructible. And he grabs her and he bites her lips off. So she's all dazed and confused, and she turns around and she sees a big cannibal who just cuts her in half with an axe. That would take a tremendous amount of strength to do that, but he cuts her in half, and we see her just fall apart, the old fall to the side thing. And I thought this was a pretty gory scene here, and it wasn't like really bad CGI or anything. So I thought this was pretty awesome. And the cannibals drag her body away and everything. So that's how it starts off. And then we see Dale Murphy, Henry Rollins, and he's the host of this reality show which looks boring as crap. This show, nobody would watch this reality show. It's terrible. It's a doomsday reality show where they're stuck out in the woods, and it's supposed to be like the apocalypse. They get these, well, I'll get into that in a minute, but he's hosting the show, and we see the tapes of the contestants. Nina the goth chick, Jonesy the skateboarder, Jake the jock, Alina the diva, and Amber the army girl. And since Kimbo no-shows, they ask the producer, Mara, to replace Kimbo, and she reluctantly agrees because her boyfriend is M, the director. That's the cast of characters. So Henry Rollins has them split up to search for food as part of the game, and they have these radiation cards, the radiation elimination. And there are these survival challenges scattered all around the woods, and when they trip one of these things, it's like an alarm goes off. And then they have to do whatever this card says to complete the challenge. And they're doing these challenges next to a river, out in the woods, in the middle of nowhere, and there is nobody supervising this. No medics, no nothing. You know how when you watch a reality show, like MTV's The Challenge, for example, and they're doing a challenge over water, and you see those guys in scuba suits, just in case some shit goes wrong? None of that here. So it's really hard to suspend disbelief for this made-up game, but I don't know. It looked like a really, really boring show too. Most of the time they're just looking around the woods doing nothing. So they take all their cell phones to the RV, and Jonesy tells Amber that he won't let any of the pig-screwing hillbillies mess with her. And Henry Rollins says that he's never screwed a pig, and he grew up 2 counties from here. And the only reason I think that's worth mentioning is because it shows that he knows the woods. So he's not just out there like the rest of them. One of the tech guys gets scalped by a cannibal while taking a piss. And I found out later that this cannibal who scalped him was actually Three Finger from the first movie. Sawtooth and, what was the other guy's name? Sawtooth, Three Finger, and One Eye. So stupid. The other two didn't make it, but Three Finger does make an appearance in this movie. So Dale goes to set up some more survival challenges around the woods, and he sees his four-wheeler has an arrow stuck in the tire. And the cannibal starts shooting arrows at him. He throws a knife at one of them, but this doesn't even faze the cannibal. And another one shows up and just knocks him out. So the girl Mara, the producer of the show, triggers a survival challenge. And she's got to run to the river, climb over this log, get this flag, and it's got like a device in it where she's got to stick the card in before time runs out. That's part of the challenge. So being the producer, she knows where everything is, and she makes it there, but she falls in the river, makes it out of the river, and this device, she puts the card in, and it's all still working perfectly, even though it just fell in the water. And once again, this was a pretty dangerous game, and nobody's watching. In fact, the only way it's being filmed is they have these little headset cameras on, so everything looks Blair Witch style. The director, is trying to get Jake and Elena to have sex. Jake refuses. He's just trying to get ratings. And let me see. So the director ends up having sex with Elena while one of the cannibals watches from the woods. And this was actually kind of disturbing. And the producer comes up. She doesn't see the cannibal or anything, Mara. And that's her boyfriend, so this bothers her. She's freaking out about this, and her and Nina take off in the woods, and she's upset now. She just wants to go home. It shows Jonesy and Amber find a hunter's camp with barbecue cooking, so they steal the food. And then we see Dale, who's hung upside down by Three Finger. Mara's pissed off about her boyfriend, and she knows she can't get a signal at the RV, so she heads to a nearby cabin. And of course, walks right into this place. They see pictures of the deformed cannibals. And then two cannibals come home, and they watch one of them give birth to a deformed baby. They seriously watch her come home and give birth all in like 3 minutes time. That was a bit of a stretch, I thought. But they were just trying to show that the babies are deformed too, so I guess I understand that. But they get spotted, they try to block them out of the room, and they escape. And as they're running, the father cannibal shows up, and he throws an axe, hits Mara in the head, kills her, and he starts chasing after Nina. And he actually played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. It's the same guy. He's huge. And he can't find Nina, and the son pulls up in a truck with Mara's body on the hood, and he's chewing on one of her fingers. And Nina sees this, and so she knows that these people are dangerous, they're after him, they're nuts. She's got to get the hell out of here. Dale sees Mara's body brought back to camp. The skinny cannibal, Three Finger, goes to kill him. He's able to get himself free. He stabs the cannibal, and then he shoots him with a shotgun, which I thought was a pretty awesome scene, because the way he shoots him, it's like a first-person shooter. So it shows the barrel of the gun, and it just blows him like all the way into the air. So that was pretty funny, but I thought it was cool. And then we see M leave Elena at the river. One of the cannibals is watching her, and he's masturbating. And his sister comes up, and she gets jealous, so she chases Elena. She runs out of the woods and starts going crazy in a fit of jealous rage over Elena, and she just starts cutting her back. And she actually cuts her back so much you can see Elena's spine, so she kills her off. That was actually a pretty brutal scene. And M returns to the RV, and we see the other cannibal approaching the RV because he took the headset and he's actually wearing it himself now. So he's walking to the RV, and M doesn't notice any of this. The father and another cannibal steal the RV, and they start driving it. and then he gets in the back and he starts choking him and then stabs him with an arrow through the side of the RV. Jake, Amber, and Jonesy are eating barbecue, the barbecue they got from the hunter's camp, and Nina runs up and tells them about the cannibals. So they don't believe her until they see that they've been eating Kimbo, because her tattoo is on the meat. Now, I'm not really sure how they knew this was Kimbo's tattoo. I can't remember if they watched the contestant video or not, but that's how we saw it. And she's got this tattoo, it's like on her upper thigh. But I guess if they watched the video, it's no big deal, but if they didn't, it's like, how the hell did they know that was her tattoo? But anyways, they find out they've been eating her, so they believe Nina's story. They take off through the woods. Nina steps on a nail. Jake fixes it up for her. They find out the RV is gone, so Amber wants to head to an old mill, I guess so they can board up the doors and try to protect themselves from the cannibals. They think that if they go to the road, it's too dangerous, and they see some bear traps, and they know the woods are dangerous. We see Dale, who follows an old man into a cabin, and he pulls a gun on him, and he fixes his wounds while he's there. He doesn't even know the old man has anything to do with the cannibals. I actually think the old man was the gas station employee in the first movie. I'm not sure. I'm not positive about that, but I think it was. And the old man tells him that the chemicals are what messed up the people after him. And Dale asks why he didn't leave, and he says he's got to stay close to his youngins. And then he attacks Dale. Dale ends up sticking some dynamite on his back and blows him up. He says, "Say hello to the missus." Really cheesy line. And of course the gun gets destroyed in the explosion, so now Dale doesn't have a weapon. Or does he? So Jake, Nina, Jonesy, and Amber hear some people in the woods having sex. And it's the cannibals. Jake thinks it's Elena getting raped by the male cannibal, but it's really just his sister wearing Elena's face as a mask, which is pretty disturbing. And they all start fighting with the cannibals. Nina takes off and falls into a hole. But the rest of them are fighting the cannibals. The male cannibal's head hits a rock. And the three of them take off running. And the female cannibal, his sister, just starts screaming because of her brother. So they turn around. They stop running and turn around and watch her. And of course the son gets up. He cracks his neck like it's nothing. And Amber throws a spear, and the female cannibal just catches it and throws it down. That was badass. The whole time they're playing this really weird music, though, too, which really stood out to me. Jake goes back and saves Nina. The female comes after them with a shotgun, so they jump off a waterfall to escape. Dale, we see, is in full badass mode. He's got some arrows he stole from the old man's house, and he's got dynamite strapped to the ends of them. So he's ready to kill all these people. Amber and Jonesy are being chased by the father and son. They get caught in some of those rope traps, and the son actually shoots them through the eyes with an arrow. One arrow through the back of their head and eye into the other person's eye. And then he drinks the blood as it's dripping down. And this, I definitely remember this scene. In fact, when I was watching the movie again, I completely called this happening. This stood out in my mind. This stood out in my mind, and the death of Dale stood out in my mind. The way he dies with the chain wrapped around his throat. So Jake and Nina make it to the old mill. They look for a radio to call for help. And they find the body of a little girl in one of the lockers. And they find a shitload of cars from past victims. And they see their RV there. And then they start to hear M calling for help. So Jake runs into the RV, and it's a trap. M is actually somewhere else. It's just being filmed with the headset camera that the cannibal stole. And he sees them cut off M's head. And when he turns around, the father cannibal shows up and knocks him out. We see Nina, who is captured by the twins. And Dale is watching all of this. He's just waiting for his chance to strike. Then we get a dinner scene, just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they're all eating dinner. Jake is hung up, and Nina's strapped to her chair. Her hands are tied with barbed wire. The cannibals don't even speak English. They just grunt and say words. They kind of have some words, like when they're saying grace, the father says amen, kind of. So yeah, they don't even speak English. I'm not sure. I mean, how could they survive? How do they even have electricity? But anyways, they're at the dinner scene, and of course they try to feed her some human and stuff like that, which was pretty disturbing. But the mother cannibal leaves the room, and she actually seemed more depressed than the victims. I don't know, maybe it was just me, but she actually seemed to be really depressed, like hates her life, just being a cannibal. But she disposes of some of the extra body parts in this giant grinder thing in the mill. And they hear Dell accidentally set off a walkie-talkie. So the cannibals go to find this intruder. And Dell shoots one of the twins with an arrow with dynamite stuck to it. And his sister's trying to get it off. And he blows them both up. So the mother instantly knows something is wrong. Dale sneaks in to save Nina and Jake. He sets her free from the barbed wire and cuts Jake down, and then he gets shot with an arrow. And he turns around, and the father shoots him with another arrow. And then the mother comes in, just super pissed, swinging one of those things that's like a chain with two balls on the end of it. I can't remember what they're called. I think it starts with a B. What the hell is that weapon? Anyway, she throws this. It wraps around his neck, and it's got barbed wire on it. It's cutting his throat, and he's dying, but he dies like a man. It was pretty awesome, actually. So he dies, and the mother cannibal shows the father the shirt of one of the twins. So now they're really pissed off. So they grab Jake, and they try to throw him in the grinder. Nina comes back to help him, and they fight the cannibals off and knock them both into the grinder. So the cannibals are dead. They steal Kimbo's car, and they drive away. And that was it. The last thing we see is the chemicals in the river. And another cannibal, I guess he lives down the road, is filling up a baby bottle with this green liquid. And he's trying to feed it to a baby cannibal, and then he lets the baby suck on a human finger. And this baby looks like an alien. It looks like something out of the movie Alien. And I guess it's just after all these years of inbreeding and chemicals, they've just completely turned into something else entirely. And that was the last thing we saw. So I did enjoy this movie. Like I said, a lot of action. It's got some cheesy stuff. Some really cheesy lines. Not the greatest acting in the world, but it's still a fun action movie. And if you're a fan of the cannibal family horror movies like I am, then you probably find some enjoyment in this. I have watched some of the third so far, and this one's definitely better than the third, I can say that. So yeah, anyways, that's my review of Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. I think that's the tagline, Dead End. Is it Dead End, or... I don't know, my notes are all screwed up here, but... Anyway, that's my review of this movie. Hope you guys like this video. I will have Wrong Turn 3 up. I guess it's Saturday now, so a little bit later today. And that's it. So leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments below, and thanks for watching.